so many things, like how to love and how to lose and how to choose.
All right, and welcome to today's episode of Walking Through Life. Today I am Kayla Shiner, and with me I have Dominique Rondeau with me. I am super excited to have her as a guest with me. Not only is she such a great inspiration to me, and not to be biased, but she is family. She's my she's a good relative of mine, and so I've been asking her for a while to get on this show with me and talk about her journeys and struggles, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hello, Dominique. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for asking me to be on. This is exciting.
Yes, absolutely. Why don't you just tell me a little about what you do, what you do? I mean, I know, you're a single mom. You used to live like across the US. Now we're back home. You did a lot and is doing a lot of work with mental health. I know there was a time where you worked on farms and things like that. So just kind of give us a little view of what you do.
Yeah. So grew up here in New England, moved away to do my graduate work in California. I lived there 7 years. Migrated to Utah for a year. And while I was there, worked both in a school doing some behavioral intervention, and then had my own program doing equine assisted mental health, and just loved it. Got pregnant kind of out of the blue. We all know how that happens, but it was unexpected that I was told I couldn't have kids, and made like the really hard decision to come home to have my little guy and to be around family. And since being home, have worked in community mental health, primarily with children. Right now I work with kiddos under the age of 6, so 0 to 6, and their parents, doing mental health. I am like 3 months away from being licensed as a mental health clinician, so that's super exciting. And my hope is to get back out west and to get back to the equine therapy. So that's kind of a very generalized synopsis of where I've been and where I'm at right now.
And where you want to go. That's great. My oldest actually did that type of therapy, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for me, not so much him. I mean, he was like 3, and getting on this big animal, he just wanted no part of it. But it really like pushed him to go out of his box and do something else. They were really great. They played games with them, like red light, green light, and really worked on his vocabulary and how to properly treat the horse. And it was a lot of fun. And we did that for a couple years, and I think that really helped the next stages of services for him.
That's awesome. Great foundation.
Yes, it was a great platform for him. So you just spoke that you have a son. I want to ask, what strengths do you already have that made you enhance your role as being a mom? Because no one ever is really prepared for being a mom, but some of us, okay, I can, I can, get a meal together, I have siblings, and, I've helped out a little bit. So, I mean, did you have any already strengths before becoming a mom?
Yeah, I would say looking back, being super duper organized, maybe to the point of ridiculousness, has been super helpful. Getting my little guy on a schedule, a sleep schedule, even from coming home from the hospital, bedtime has had the same routine. Obviously the times have changed, and as we all know, babies don't stick to schedules, but it's the same pattern of things every night, and has been literally since the night we came home from the hospital. So I would say organization and me thriving on routines has been super helpful. And then those homemaker skills that I had to have, being one of 7 kids, doing laundry and cooking and all of those things. I had to do a lot as a kid, and multitask doing those things. By the time I had my own kiddo, and only having one kiddo, it's oh, this is kind of easy, because I was doing it for multiple siblings. growing up.
Yes. Now what strengths have you learned while becoming a mom, like that you didn't think that you knew or were able to do?
Yeah, I would say like patience, and being able to roll with the flow a little bit more. I think like I have anxiety, and like anxiety, how it plays out in my life is like wanting, it doesn't always work, but wanting to know the next thing that's coming and when it's coming. And like as a parent, that doesn't work.
Yes. Yeah.
So having to like roll with whatever happens in a day, in a moment, in a night. So definitely, yeah, being more just easygoing.
Now, this question will also probably follow through as well. You being a single mom, what have you found the most challenging thing about that?
Yeah, I think unlike a lot of single parents who become single parents, like well into their kids' lives, whether it's a few months in or a few years in or things like that, it's all I've ever known. I've been a single parent since I was about 3 months pregnant. So I don't have much to compare it to, but I would imagine it would be really nice to have a partner to say like, hey, I'm tapped out. I have nothing left. Help. So whoops. But I don't have that, commodity, it's just me.
Got it. Yeah, I can imagine that's really hard, and especially to be able to connect with somebody on all different levels, of somebody who is in the same boat as you are, in a relationship. And I'm sure it's very hard to connect emotionally and a team wise.
Yeah. And like there's parts of it where like I don't envy 2-parent households, because like I don't know, like I have my decision. I have very like strong opinions and feelings about things. And it's so nice not to have to consult with anybody about things. Just like I got to name my kid, I got to decide where he goes to daycare and things like that. So like I see on the flip side, it would be really hard too. Not that I want to be a single parent forever, but I can definitely see like on both sides there is difficulty.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get it. Me and my husband, I mean, we butt heads quite often about, what the kids are doing, what they're going to be doing, where they're going, and how to structure, as well. Was there any advice given to you during, pregnancy, or, finding out that you're going to be a single parent? Was there any advice given to you? And what was that?
Yeah, I think like two things that I've taken away, like I'll have to say like there's a lot of advice given, not just when you're a single parent, but I think in general. And one, like parsing through all of that and figuring out what works best for you. Just because mom, dad, uncle, cousin, brother is suggesting this thing doesn't mean it's for me. So if it doesn't sit well with you, just like throw it out, and move on with what works for you. But I would have to say two things. The first one is that everything is figure outable, no matter how difficult a situation, or how like not being able to see how things are going to work out. Everything is figure outable. And then the second one would be that like, as soon as a phase is feeling way too hard, way too difficult, whether it's pregnancy or phases of your kiddo, whether it's newbornness or not sleeping through the night, it's going to change and you're going to move into a new phase, and it's going to have its own like hard parts. It doesn't ever really get easier. It just changes, but just hang on, because nothing ever stays the same for long.
Yes. And, I've noticed too with my sons that you can't stay comfortable in a routine or, a phase for too long, because it's just going to change before, in a blink of an eye, when okay, this is what we're doing, you're settled into this little routine, into these little, quirks, and then we're going to throw it away and we're going to do something else. I completely get that. I mean, one day it's all about popcorn, and next it's, I hate popcorn, it's it's all ages and stages, and it's just, it's crazy. So with all of that, what does self-care look like for you?
Yeah, like a lot of different things. So like being outside is really important to me. So, I mean, my little is almost 2, so that has just looked like him coming with me. So at first, like just carrying him in a pack while I went for walks and hikes. Now he'll walk a little bit. But so being outside, like being in nature is super important. Also like going back to routines, he has like a pretty strict like bedtime routine because once he goes to bed, that's when I either finish work. Like right now I'm studying for my boards or like take time to take a bath or read a book or paint my nails. So like really finding time for myself to step away because I'm the only person that is putting energy into his, into raising him. So if I'm not filling my cup and stepping away, then he's not going to be healthy and happy. So it's sometimes little pockets. It's like an hour here or 15 minutes there. Or like this morning I went to a dentist appointment and my dad watched him. And so I listened to a podcast in the car and that was my break, so however it has to look in this season of life.
Yeah. And definitely, you said that, you lived out in California and things like that. I mean, how being back in the winter setting, I mean, how has that been for you?
Hard. I really detest it. I try and really see the beauty in every place that I am. And like, I get outside no matter the weather, but like seasonal affect disorder is alive and well in my life. Despite like doing lots of vitamin D and taking a, vitamin B complex and all the things that I can do for my mental health. I am like a solar panel and like thrive on sunshine. So,
well, and especially since you've had it for so long, being, out west and you come out here and it's like, it's like a plant. You're like shriveling up because there's not enough sunlight.
Yeah. So my goal is within the next year to get back west. So yeah, get back to that sunshine.
How did COVID affect you? I mean, it happened so fast. I mean, I know on a personal level, you got pregnant, you came home, you had the little guy and then boom, COVID hit.
Yep.
Like within the year, so yep. There was no celebration. There was no, everything just stopped. And so did that affect you in any way, Absolutely. Mentally, physically, work related, anything like that?
Absolutely. Super isolating. So I went from working 5 days a week in an office, like being able to go to my clients' homes. Augie was in daycare those 5 days a week to being home, continuing working full time with a then almost 1-year-old. And that continued from March until October when I went back 3 days a week. So still kind of a juggle. 1 day a week, I work with him from home, and that can be definitely an adventure with an almost 2-year-old who's very busy. But yeah, like super isolating. I am an introvert, but definitely thrive on like human connection, and like I'm a touchy-feely person. Like I need hugs and I need like physical interaction with people. So to be a single parent doing it on my own, and then B, have a toddler and working full time and all the things, it was a doozy, and still is. We're not through it. So, and trying to support really difficult mental health crises for all of my clients around me, and somehow keep that as like over here while I have my personal life and not let those things intermingle too much.
Absolutely. Now, what made you want to choose this career in health, in the mental health setting?
Yeah, so I think growing up in kind of a tumultuous household, I saw, so like that's where the horse piece came into play. Like when I was 10, my parents bought me this super old pony for like $400. The poor dear, I think, was like 32 when we got her. So like barely hanging on, but I loved her dearly, and that kind of like opened up the door to horses. And then like as high school went on, I realized like the therapeutic healing element that I was getting from the horses. And then I think probably like my senior year realized like, oh, I want to do this for a career, but I have the horse part down, but I need to go get the mental health psychology piece down. So that kind of, the horses totally springboarded me going and getting my master's in psych. And then I went back to the horses. I got certified to do therapeutic horseback riding and then like be a mental health clinician within a therapy session, which are kind of like two different veins, but kind of like definitely circled back around.
So you started with the horse there, the horse, and then you switched to the bigger mental health. What made you want to switch over to that? What kind of impact did having the horse therapy have on you to keep going, to keep striving to help more mental health?
I just like, it was a very like personal experience, like knowing how much horses had an effect on me without it being like in a therapeutic setting. Just being around horses growing up was so healing for me, and was totally like a bright spot in every day, that I knew that individuals that were really struggling with all kinds of things within the context of having like real certified horse therapy could only bring about good things. So like in Utah, I had my own program, and then moving home, it was like, well, I need insurance because I'm pregnant and I'm having a kid. So I've just kind of had to work in community mental health, but it's also allowed me to like get all my hours in order to get certified to become like a clinical mental health clinician, so that I can go back and do my own program wherever I happen to be.
And will you go back to doing horse therapy, or just maybe have, a laying on a couch kind of thing, Zoom calls? Like what do you see yourself, in the next 5 years in terms of where you want to be in the mental health career?
Totally having a ranch and doing only equine therapy. Yeah. I don't know. Like I get how important conventional talk therapy is. And I've seen so much more like healing and progress come from like somatic therapies. So whether it's like dancing or like moving your body to process through trauma, or like walking while you talk or things like that. I don't know. For me, like sitting in a room sharing my feelings isn't productive for me. So that's why I like being around horses, and like that has been super powerful. But like even with little kiddos, like kiddos don't, like a 3-year-old isn't going to tell you their problems. Their trauma and everything is coming out through their play. So creating opportunities for like setting up scenarios of play, or like putting on music for them to dance, or things like that really involve like not only their mind, but their body.
Now, is this something that you're looking to do further for, 18 and under, young adults, strictly, do you have a strict idea of what age group that you would like to work with? And is it going to be all mental health, or is it going to be other, or a bigger variety?
Yeah. So I want to stick to mental health. So I definitely see the benefits of like therapeutic horseback riding and like therapeutic work more for like the physical disabilities. Mm-hmm. But my passion is definitely like the mental health component. And what was the other part of that question? I'm sorry. It went in one ear and out the other.
Just if you were sticking to age group.
Yeah. So I feel like it benefits most like age like 8 on up. So I've worked with teens and adults and absolutely loved it. Like the kiddo, I love working with kiddos, but I think as a mom of a young person, it really tugs at my heartstrings. And it's hard to like keep a kiddo under 6 safe around a horse, to be quite frank. So I think there's definitely like a level of growth and maturity that's needed for horse therapy to be beneficial, like mental health therapy.
Yeah. And I think with that also is that, when you're talking about doing strictly mental health, the younger kiddos, it's hard to do that with, and it just turns into play. Yeah. Playtime. So it's like, it's got to be one or the other. So that totally makes sense that, you would stick to a higher age level. So obviously, we keep talking about mental health, and it has affected your life in some sort of way. So how do you continue to work on being a better version of yourself?
Yeah, a lot of different ways. So like I have my own personal therapist. Like around the time I had my son, I knew like that I needed to see somebody. So that was when I started and was seeing her weekly, and now just kind of monthly check-ins because I'm feeling like I'm doing really well. And just like being outside, getting outside daily is essential for my mental health. But taking moments to walk away from my son if I need to, if like he's in meltdown mode, put him in his crib and walk away, obviously like making sure he's safe. Taking breaks. I'm not good about that. Even when people offer help, I'm not good about it at all. Unless I like absolutely need it. Unless it's like I have a doctor's appointment and my kiddo can't come with me, but like he goes everywhere, like grocery shopping everywhere with me. So I need to be better about taking breaks. And I have a lot of people around me who are willing to help. It's just me like letting go. But yeah, I think, and really just staying on top of like, I do a lot of like herbal supplements. Like I do CBD oil and ashwagandha. And like I said, like the vitamin D and B6 and those kind of things, because I really find they help mental health. And if it ever came to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to be on meds, like I absolutely would, but haven't felt that yet.
Yeah.
Also journaling and those kind of things keep me on the straight and narrow, shall we say.
That is great. Those are all some good tips. Do you have any advice or tips for, anyone that wants to go into the mental health career, or a single parent, or both, anything like that?
Yeah. So if you want to go into the mental health field, like find a program that you love. There's programs that are teaching like dance therapy or art therapy or even horse therapy. So find a program that you love and just dive in. There's programs all over the country that are doing all sorts of things. And there's so many populations that are in need right now, like kiddos. There's so many, like, I know the military is not great about the mental health services that they are giving their, the veterans and everybody coming back from war. So I know that's an area of need. And then for single parents, don't be afraid to ask for help. And if somebody offers to help, then please let them, whether it's, cooking a meal or taking your kiddos so you can take a nap or even a walk. Yeah.
Or even a hot shower.
Yeah. Allow people to help you, because it's best. It's not only good for you, but it's good for your kiddo or kiddos.
Perfect. Well, I don't know if we're almost out of time yet, but I wanted to thank you so much for coming. I wanted to thank CATV for having us, and also Linda Carbonneau, the producer, the maker, the everything, the greatest, for allowing me to do a show today. And check us on Facebook, YouTube, Walking Through Life, or CATV, and check us out. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to any of us, and stay safe, and I hope you have a great day.
Walking through this life of mine, well, it's teaching me so many things, like how to love and how to lose and how to choose. Walking through this life, some days I get so tired and I feel that I can't